Hey listeners of the LeBatard Show, it's me Lucy. I just want to warn you that the video you're about to watch is a little bit disturbing. How did you feel seeing Iowa score 40 points last week?
I'm not going to lie, it was a bit shocking. We got to save some points for next week.
I'm hoping to double it this game, actually.
Cade McNamara is my daddy, dude.
Whose quarterback is hotter? Okay, whoa.
It was a spiritual experience seeing an Iowa wide receiver catch a touchdown.
He is funny. He got that from me. That's my brother. Jack, what does it feel like to be my brother?
It is a interesting experience, definitely.
I don't like that answer. Iowa State, can you guys say one nice thing about them?
No.
Iowa State's like a third world country. What?
The clones!
I mean, they're lovable losers. Matt Campbell's 1-6 against the University of Iowa.
They did a very good job at choosing the worst alternate uniforms this year.
It's not even a rivalry at this point anymore, you know? Like, this is their Super Bowl. This is a normal game for us.
No, it wasn't a fair catch.
Is Iowa cool?
Hell yeah. Iowa's #1 place. Party hard and they win hard.
We have the best head coach in college football.
We love I don't know what
No, we don't. We love Miller Lite.
I forgot I can't say that. You can restart that. I forgot I can't say that.
When a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a big thing in your face, you get screwed!
And we love Powerade, right?
I fucking love Powerade.
Powerade is actually my favorite drink.
This was presented by Powerade. It takes more.
Let's go! We're honored to have you guys here at the University of Iowa, one of the best colleges in America.
The best!
And this girl, I've met her many times, and she can drink. Just like Moose.
No comment. See me on Jimmy Kimmel? It's hard being a celebrity, you know?
Congrats on Jimmy Kimmel. He did us proud.
What do you guys want to say to Dan LeBatard?
I don't. Is that the guy on the radio show?
Do we like Dan LeBatard?
He's my boss.
Hell yeah, Dan LeBatard!
Give Lucy a raise.
You are a staple on the LeBatard Show.
I know, I love the Dan LeBatard.
Yeah!
Who's this? Is this Mike?
No, this is Thomas.
Okay.
Not Mike.
But this is Rose?
This is Rose. That's not Mike.
I love
That's
Rose.
Thomas. We've been told we have a speech. I don't know what about or who for.
Dan? This is the Cyhawk series. Human cockfighting edition. Happy Chinooka to Stu and Jeremy. Roy, you come here. We got as much free food and beer for you, or alcohol, as much as you want. We got you. Tony, keep an eye on Riley Moss. Yes, I hope you can become an Iowa fan because the rest of your favorite teams, because you got like 70,000 of them. Beep. Mike, Ozempic's cheating, you bastard. Beep. Last but not least, beep. Billy, you evil cat, huzz up. That for you, Stu. Go Hawkeyes, baby! Let's go!
You know, one day you're on Jimmy Kimmel, and the next day you're at rock bottom, on the end zone, knowing that you got here basically as many times as Iowa did today. Oh look, there's a little kid with an Iowa State thing running. Should I trip him? Whoops, I don't know how that happened. It was not intentional. I did not trip him. I'm a super duper positive person. Everybody knows that about me. Next week I can go to Wisconsin and just feel, you know, hopefully nothing is kind of what I'm looking for in life, really, is to feel nothing. Thanks for watching.
Everybody's slurring in all her videos. She's having more fun than the rest of us. I don't know how this works with you, Lucy. You and Jessica have become very good friends. When Notre Dame loses, do you console her or do you make fun of her?
So when Iowa loses, if somebody texts me, you're on my list. We're not pals. I know you don't really care about me. So when I saw that Notre Dame lost, I literally looked at Thomas and I said, I will not say one word to Jess. And then Iowa lost. And I said, well, damn, we're both in a tough spot here. So I made a little joke. And so since we both lost, I'll say something. But if Notre Dame had lost and Iowa won, you bet I would have not answered this question right now.
Mike, how does it work with you when UM loses? Does anyone here bury you, or do they all leave you alone because they know you care way too much and it's unreasonable?
Usually it's the only time I get to actually talk about Miami football when they lose. So pretty quiet on my front today.
Yeah.
I've never texted Mike after a loss, ever.
Yeah. But, Lucy's not here and Jess isn't here, so we can put all that Mike makes a schedule talk away.
Lucy, did you see any of Big Noon? Because Mike Ryan has fallen in love with what is it's the alternate pregame show, because Game Day has been the master for a long time. But Big Noon Kickoff is something that a lot of people are noticing that it too is good.
I did not watch Big Noon this weekend, but I have watched Big Noon previously. I think they do a great job. I think that College Game Day is kind of following suit with what Big Noon did, because Big Noon started like really trying to engage the fans originally, where College Game Day was just like an experience. You go and you watch. And now with like the Pat McAfee like field goal and like a little more like crowd interaction, you can see they're sort of taking a page from Big Noon's playbook. I think both shows do a really good job. And it's honestly, for me, I know that I'll watch the show that that's at the game I care more about.
Yeah, they're both really good shows, and I think Big Noon is creeping more into the national conversation with the stuff that they're doing, be it live music performances, which is something that I enjoyed from last week's show. Matthew McConaughey actually giving really good analysis, leaving Urban Meyer speechless at one point during halftime, and then having a face-off on the field while holding a Longhorn flag up against Charles Woodson, and both of them talking trash face-to-face. We're in a pretty good era of college football coverage, and we all used to be all in on game day is the only thing that matters, and now that you have an alternative, you can actually sample both, have one on each screen, flip channels depending on the game. And last week was certainly a Big Ten game between Texas and Michigan. They might actually give you more of what you want. I love having options.
I was driving on Sunday morning before football, and Lucy, I'm curious what your take here is, because it's not surprising, but I'm legitimately staring at my radio, Sirius XM, with my mouth open, because we've already gotten to, well, you can't blow it up again in Colorado. You know that Dion might leave with Shedeur and Travis, right? You know that he might leave with Travis Hunter and Shedeur, and other people are saying, and you know he's not going to let you fire him. He's going to get, and I'm like, whoa, we're there already, but it looked that bad against Nebraska.
It didn't look any better than last year. I think that's kind of my takeaway from the two games Colorado has played. Somehow they're the exact same team with all different players, like the exact same team. Nebraska is not a bad football team by any means. Nebraska is a team that is like not, their record has never really been accurate to how good they've been the last few years. But this was a long time coming for both Colorado and Nebraska. Nebraska was going to get that big win, and Colorado was going to show exactly who they are, which is not a good football team. Their defense is bad. Their offensive line is terrible. They have three players. They have three players on that football team, but yet they're three really good, really fun players. So we have put so much into that when the rest of it is genuinely terrible and unwatchable football.
They were really committed in offseason talent acquisition to the offensive line, and you've got nothing to show for it except a quarterback throwing that offensive line that's still got a block for him under the bus. One of the offensive lines that really also caught my attention for playing poorly was Oregon. What is happening with Oregon right now? They conceded 5 sacks all of last season. They conceded 4 just to Boise State alone. They needed 2 returns for touchdowns to eke out a W against Boise State, which, with all due respect, is a good football team.
Always good.
Yeah, they're good. They have the best running back in the nation, but I cashed out on an Oregon to win the national title futures bet, because that offensive line, Lucy, that does not appear to be it.
No, that was my thought watching that game back. So my thing is, I don't really take too much stock in a close win against Boise State, because like you guys said, Boise State is unbelievably good, and Ashton Genty is the best running back in college football, and if you have not watched him, you should. It's appointment television. He had 6 touchdowns the first week, but the offensive line looked so bad, and Oregon still has that big play potential, but like Dylan Gabriel doesn't necessarily have like the fiery zest of Bo Nix, so he needs a little bit more from his offensive line, which we're not seeing so far. And as good as Boise State is, you're about to enter the Big Ten, which is built on the foundation of very strong defenses and very good D lines. Oregon is going to have to make some changes pretty much ASAP because, like, you are not going to have the luxury of, 2, like, returns when you're playing a Big Ten team. Like, that's just not going to happen. But the offensive line was my biggest issue. I think just, like, defensive-wise, I'm not too worried about giving up anything to Ashton because he's literally so good.
What is this fiery zest that you talk about? I have not heard anyone in sports analysis say that someone has a fiery zest. What is this?
How he, like, runs with his head cut off like a chicken. Like Bo Nix. The Bo Nix experience, baby. You don't know what you're going to get. It's crazy. It's wild.
You get about 4 air yards.
Yeah, 3.3 yards per attempt in Denver. Well, that didn't seem like fiery zest. It seemed like charred remains of garbage.
Yeah, well, you didn't watch freshman year Auburn at Bo Nix. That was the best. That was his.
He was just a young child when that happened.
Yeah, and he was awesome. He was great. What Oregon does isn't what the NFL does. Bo Nix kicked ass at Oregon last year, the last 2 years. He was so fun. He was one of the best offensive players in the country. Sorry that it didn't translate to your precious NFL.
I just don't know what this fiery zest is. Who else has
watch Bo Nix at Oregon has fiery zest.
All right, who else has fiery zest right now? Who else showed you? Let's do a segment. Let's get a sponsor for spicy foods, and let's get who showed you fiery zest this week? And you wept again during the wave?
Yeah, okay, but that one I feel like is really, really valid. They're waving to children in the children's hospital who are too sick to be there to watch the game, so they watch from up there.
You're right.
Everyone cries at that. I cry every single time.
Lucy,
so
you
don't
mentioned...
you dare bully me for that, Dan.
I think you tipped your hand as to where you're going next week. What's a game this coming weekend? Is it Wisconsin, Alabama?
Yes.
Tyler
Alabama,
Van Dyke
Wisconsin.
versus Alabama.
Crazy. This has been a very, this is kind of one of those weeks where you look at it and you're like, oh, okay. We're like, our game day is going to LSU at South Carolina. And you're like, all right, I guess this is what we have. So, Alabama's Wisconsin, I don't expect it to be very great, although Alabama did look iffy against USF this weekend. I'm just a little nervous because I do think Alabama is going to win. And not that I'm rooting for Wisconsin, but I'm in dangerous Ted Cruz territory of going 0-3 for the home team, and no one's ever going to let me back.
Well, this is part of what's happening now. The energy of the reports gets you have to do a lot more work when the home team loses, correct?
I do, but most of the stuff we do is before the game, and everyone has this insane confidence that they probably shouldn't have. But my job is a lot easier when the home team wins. And so far, we are 0-2 on that, and most likely Bama's going to beat Wisconsin by 50, and that's really going to bum us out. But on the bright side, I think Wisconsin and Iowa are in the same sort of family tree of they get so drunk at tailgates, and they will be fun no matter what.
The biggest story of the weekend was Northern Illinois, of the college football weekend, is Northern Illinois going into Notre Dame and winning at the last moments. What's second?
The second biggest story?
Yeah, just something from the weekend that you would put in there's nothing to put in the realm of that, but you say week 3, you're not totally thrilled with what's coming up. What about what we just watched?
So I think the second biggest story is that several teams tried to do what Notre Dame did this weekend. Penn State was down at half to Bowling Green. Alabama led USF by 1 point in the fourth quarter. Oregon barely beat Boise State, needed a game-winning field goal. There were a lot of top 10 teams this week that were so close to doing what Notre Dame did. And so that makes me excited because that means that in the coming weeks, we're going to start to see that happening and more of the Notre Dame NIU results. But I think it shows that, it's not as wide open. We thought the top was a lot heavier than it is. And so playoff could be crazy. Things are going wild right now.
I think another great story is what Tennessee has done.
They're so good. Oh, my God.
Their defense is really good. And NC State spent a fair amount of money in talent acquisition along the offense, and you wouldn't know it from watching that. It appears like Tennessee is getting to Tier 1 status, Lucy.
Oh, absolutely. James Pierce is one of the best players in the entire country, and obviously we all know that Tennessee is going to have a really great offense. Tennessee is a super interesting team because it feels like no one's talking about them except for you just asking that question right now, because you're in the SEC where you just saw Texas beat the crap out of Michigan and Georgia beat the crap out of Clemson last week. Tennessee is still very much a contender, and they look really, really good, because the thing with Tennessee a few years ago when they had Hendon Hooker was their offense was amazing, but their defense was still one big giant question mark. That defense looks really good right now. And I know that NC State isn't like a high-flying offense or anything, but the way they were able to score against one of the better defenses in the ACC, and then to be able to defend the way they have with James Pierce, who I cannot emphasize enough is one of the best players in the country. Tennessee is a very, very dangerous team.
It seems like you two would both go in terms of early first month of the season, that it's Texas, Tennessee, and Georgia is the best of what you've seen.
I think Ohio State's really good. Jeremiah Smith is outstanding. I think that they're like in a tier, and teams like Nebraska and Miami are kind of like figuring out where they fit in this expanded college football playoff. I think it's irrefutable, though. Alabama's probably in that second tier too. It's irrefutable that the talent has dispersed across the nation, and really like maybe 4 or 5 teams have a legitimate shot at winning this national title.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think that like I have to tell myself this every week 1, every week 2 of each new college football season. We all got to chill out for a little bit. We all have to just collect ourselves. This is why I wish like polls didn't exist till week 5, because 2 weeks ago we thought Florida State was a top 10 team. Like, we're all still trying to learn and adjust. We don't really know who's good yet or who's not, but I think we can confidently say that the only teams we're very sure are good: Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, Ohio State. Very, very good.
What was the fallout on you appearing on Jimmy Kimmel?
It was cool. I don't know. There was not very much fallout. People seemed to be pretty happy for me. For the first time in my life, my brother thought I was cool. He was like, "Hey, Lucy, meet my friends. She was on Jimmy Kimmel." That's never happened. So that was really, really cool. I've been getting like mean tweets a lot lately, but I don't really care about that. I get mean tweets just doing this.
What about your return to Iowa? You go back frequently. How did all of that end up feeling to you?
Oh, it was so fun. I don't know if Rose is in studio or not, but she told me unprompted that Iowa had the best tailgating of anywhere we've ever gone, which I took so much pride in that. It was great to be back. I know the vibes were they were really high because it was a rivalry game and Iowa scored 40 points the week before. Obviously losing sucks, but it's always so much fun to go back there. And everyone treats me like a little celebrity, which is so cool. They said, "Lucy, can we get your picture?" However, I will say that 2 fans of this show, shout out to you guys, after Iowa gave up like an 80-yard touchdown pass and the stadium was silent, I was standing right behind the Iowa bench and they were all in a bad mood, and these fans just kept screaming, "Lucy, Lucy, Lucy," which was very nice, but you picked the worst possible time.
Let's go. You got to get your timing right, Iowa people. You have to be zealots in the correct way, with rhythm and with respect to the product on the field. We have not talked to you specifically about this outburst of the last 14 days of Caitlin Clark because you've been swallowed by college football. I haven't gotten any thoughts from you on the fact that she's like statistically already breaking all of the rookie records, triple doubles and threes, and obviously has figured out whatever needed to be figured out the first 2 weeks of the season.
Didn't I tell you guys this would happen? I feel like I've been pretty outspoken since she started that this would happen. I think the cool thing for Caitlin right now, I think the conversation, and very unfortunately, Angel Reese out for the season. She hurt her wrist. She's going to need surgery. So that kind of puts rookie in the year in the bag for Caitlin. However, I think the better conversation, even going into before Angel got hurt, was not whether Caitlin was going to be rookie of the year or not, or was she going to make, first team all WNBA, because she's playing at that level. And I think what's most impressive about this is, yes, her statistics are amazing and she's doing crazy, crazy things. The Indiana Fever are a playoff team, and they're not just a playoff team. They're a playoff team people are scared to play. Like, they do not want to get matched up against the Fever because they're one of the hottest teams in the WNBA right now. And she has made everyone on that roster so much better. And Kelsey Mitchell's been phenomenal. Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, they have all, just gotten so much better as a collective unit. And so shout out Caitlin, shout out the Fever. They have been awesome. And I told you all that this would happen.
You see, she's ready for the big time. This is what Kornheiser and Wilbon have done for the last 10 years. The I Told You So show, where no one cares what you said, but you take the victory lap on what you said. Can you take us through real quick before we let you go? Find something in your father's basement that he would not want us to see and point it out to us. Just wherever it is that you can find anything that your dad has. It can be anything. anything? Is there anything weird beyond the wood paneling that you can show us that your dad would be ashamed of because he doesn't keep that basement the way that he could? Keep in mind, Lucy, you are like what they originally accused the bloggers of being. You're the critic who joins us from their parents' basement.
Yeah, well, I don't pay rent, so you losers.
Okay.
This is my dad's framed pyramid of success from John Wooden. So I don't know. Is that weird?
Yeah, weird enough. Thank you for joining us. Good seeing you, Lucy. Always nice seeing you. It's nice to see you spending all that Meadowlark money on expense accounts as you travel the weekend America and enjoy yourself.
Well, I got us on Jimmy Kimmel, Dad, so I earned it.
That's right.
And you
Congratulations.
said I could, and you said I could.
And she needed to buy Iowa gear. She didn't have any.
I did.
Exactly.
Yes.
I actually didn't even buy anything, by the way. You're welcome. I saved you so much money.
And
I'm not going to buy anything in Wisconsin either. You're
wait a
welcome.
minute. What are you doing?
I already have about Iowa
penalty,
stuff.
5 minutes, swooning comedy.
You're not supposed to tell people that.
You bought me so much stuff at Texas A&M, though.
See you later.
How bad are they?
Billy.
Hey.
She was on God Bless Football with you guys.
She was.
What did you guys end up doing? God Bless Football is out right now.
What
Yeah,
time
it's
is
out now. Check
Billy,
it out.
what time is the Thomas Hammock interview on God Bless Football?
Please, don't put any.
We're not doing
ideas in his
that?
head. Please.
We're not doing
put
that
any
because it's usually an opposing coach that has a big upset.
I know.
That's
I
one of
know.
our
He's already
teams.
trying to start to do that, and I'm trying to get this
weird.
under control.
It's weird.
Anywho,
you guys have just broken away from it. Where's FAMU's coach?
If you want, you can check out to see what Beach Boys song the pilot of Lucy's plane started to sing while she was on the plane. God Bless Football.
Did you do Useless Sound Montage? Have you done it?
We have a Useless Sound Montage available should you want it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Everybody loves this thing.
I'm encouraged with the effort. Encouraged with the effort. There's always room for improvement in execution and those things, but I'll tell you, we don't need room for improvement in effort.
For me, I think the positive I can take out of it is the way that the guys stuck together and just kept playing hard.
It wasn't disrespectful, because my mom didn't raise me that way.
We battled and we continue to fight, and that's, those are the emotions of today.
It's almost like you don't want to hit him because I think when you hit him, he plays better.
These are hard to get. Everybody in that locker room knows it, as do I, that it is really hard to win a game in the NFL.
Once it clicks, it's going to click,
I'm focused on doing my job and playing as well as I can, so I've got to play better, I know that, and I'm focused on doing that.
Overall, we have to do a better job, and that starts with me. Again, I got to do a better job all the way around, and that's what I'll do.
If you can't get 4th and 1, man, sometimes you don't deserve to win.
Yeah.
And that's just a philosophical approach that we live by. I believe in our bigs. I've talked to you guys repeatedly that we're going to ride the wave that our bigs on offense and defense provide, and we mean it. Obviously, we didn't get it done right there, but we still live that life.
Listen, he gave us a chance.
I think there's small things that always lead up to big things that make games a lot closer.
What I like about this group is their will did not waver, and we'll keep our confidence, and we'll get back in the lab tomorrow and fix up what we need to fix up to win a game next week at home.
The first half was a winning offensive football game. Second half, that's can lose you games.
It's just kind of a tale of two halves, really.
Just being on the sideline, being with our crew, the guys were poised. Nobody batted an eye. Knew what we needed to do to win the game. Stuck to the plan, made some adjustments, and just kept playing. It's a long game. These games go 60 minutes down to the wire, and just proud of our guys and the effort, the attitude, the togetherness, and I thought they played really, really hard.
Half this league is obviously not going to be winners this week.
Everybody has bad apples.
Let's focus on the things that we have to improve on. All right, we'll enjoy the win, but we understand we've got a lot of things that we've got to do better.
There was going to be some good stuff that happened in that game. There was going to be some bad stuff that happened in that game.
I think there was a lot of opportunities that we didn't capitalize on, and when you don't do that, you get beat.
Whether you win, whether you lose, they're all the same for us coaches, right? You got to learn from wins, you got to learn from losses, and we will certainly learn from this loss.
Just, we're going to live that life. We don't live in our fears, man. We play and play to win.
At the end of the day, man, the season's not over.
Yes. The season is not over after week 1. Mike Tomlin, I loved hearing from him there. Man, look at how happy they are in the back row.
Of course.
Just hearing Mike Tomlin.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
We're not going to live in that fear.
Pagano status.
Love my bigs.
Yes.
Did it longer than Pagano. So he's number 1, I think.
They're going to go 9-8 again.
They make the playoffs.
Every game is going to be 6 field goals. For the record, Bobby Wagner is a commander.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Amazing.
Sounded like your Schefter again, for the record.
Well, I just think a lot of that happened yesterday. This is one of those days I missed the text machine because I know I would be getting inundated right now with how much this happened to the audience. There are rarely these connection points where I know exactly who I'm talking to about what, and there are many people out there who are not fantasy people. Like, there are also many people who are saying, yeah, how could this show not know that Bobby Wagner was a commander? There are plenty of those out there.
Please.
But I just know that was happening all over the sport yesterday, especially with defensive players. The thing I don't think was happening, Mike, and I did not know that this was going to now be a lane for you as our vanity correspondent. You're consistently breaking news about people taking care of themselves with either pharmaceuticals or science, and you've revealed, I haven't heard that anywhere else, that Mike McDaniel has phony baloney hair, that you are not judging, that you are proud of him for
hair.
doing. Yes, yes, it's real hair, but it may be his actual hair retransplanted somewhere else or however those things work.
Yeah, technology is really... I mean, we're in a booming time for hair transplant.
It's not a toupee.
No. It's not a Bill Self situation. Not at all.
It's not a. It's who else has had a? Who else has got?
Carl Ravitch has had the same hairstyle since the '90s. So put that one together.
Looks great.
How many? You're not. Where do you report just straight toupees? Where are you reporting not modern day?
Even though that science is also improved. That science is also improved. You basically have to see generations go by with somebody having the same haircut like Bill Self for a while now to actually say that, because I mean I'm on that IG algorithm. Man, wigs are looking good these days. But no, credit where it's due. Coach McDaniel had good work done. I would have guessed this might have happened naturally. Someone bounced back because of keeps or whatever. But he wore a hat all offseason long. That's typically not his style. But he very clearly wanted to surprise us with a very fresh look.
The greatest toupee of all time is Dom Capers, right? I mean,
Those are plugs. Famously.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Like doll-like
Wow.
plugs.
Well, wait a minute, though. Yes, these are different things. Toupees and plugs are different things. What Mike is talking about, he's accusing someone here of doing work so expertly and well that they are now, their hair looks much better, but you are not. In fact, accusing is the wrong verb.
No, celebrating. I am celebrating.
Celebrating, yes.
That's good work. That's like Matthew McConaughey. Just tremendous work. Pantheon-type work.
And also, you have the lane of facial work of any kind. You have not yet made a lot of Ozempic accusations.
No, I don't like
or
to.
celebrations.
I don't like to do that. I mean, I myself have done the generic. Granted, I got fat because of it.
But you are doing vanity. Really? You are now doing vanity reporting. You're sort of being the Mario Lopez for sports, are you not?
I'm here for you. This is a service that you didn't know that you needed. But look, you find it interesting. I mean, the coach certainly had a glow up over the offseason. He became a meme. And I think we also should point out, hey, great comeback for the hairline. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
If you were the Packers, you do try and get Ryan Tannehill, correct?
You have to.
Yeah, just because of the experience factor. Malik Willis, I actually liked Malik Willis a lot in college, but he's very raw and he's very new to their program. Like, he got there a couple weeks ago.
And that's why if you're Tannehill, like I said a few weeks ago, you wait. And now he can get the job and he can play.
He might be the quarterback for the Packers.
Instead of signing on to be a backup somewhere and hoping for an injury.
You start right away.
You just sit back with your feet up and you wait for the injuries to come to you.
Stugotz was delighted during the break because he's like, Dan, isn't it amazing that of all the quarterbacks who got money after week one that we had questions about the $50 million range, the one who was supposed to get hurt is Tua, and Jordan Love's the one who got hurt. And the one yesterday who looks good is not the other one, Trevor Lawrence, who at the end of the game is all of a sudden getting sacked all over the place. And while all of us could look at this, I think all of us had the same reaction. Oh, Brian Thomas, that's going to be a good receiver. He just did that to Jalen Ramsey. That's the highest paid corner in the league. It's going to be really hard to cover Brian Thomas. Trevor Lawrence will make an occasional throw where you're like, oh, holy shit. And very often they've got 17 points at the end of the game.
Yeah.
My main takeaway from week one around the AFC is we all feel pretty good about Kansas City, and all the teams that are supposed to challenge them, maybe they won, but they didn't look impressive in doing it. And I think the gulf between Kansas City after 1 week seems to have grown. Gulf between Kansas City and everybody else. Think of who's supposed to threaten them.
Baltimore, though, Mike. It's the team that lost. That's the biggest threat to them, I think.
I assume
right.
Baltimore didn't play particularly well and had an opportunity to win that game, so maybe it is Baltimore. But Cincinnati, Buffalo, Miami, these are teams that did not really impress in week one.
The Texans?
They didn't really impress in week 1. That's a game that they should take care of business in.
I'll tell you, though, what I was impressed by, and the only thing to me worth taking from the Texans obviously have skill position players and should probably be good for a while. When they're up 22-20 and D'Amico Ryan is saying on 4th and short, I'm not going to go and take the field goal that makes it a 1 field goal game. No, yes. On 4th and short, inside of your 5, I'm going for it because I believe in my offense. I've got better players.
My quarterback.
I got better players than you do on your defense, no matter who your defense is. I believe in my offense. I haven't seen a lot of coaches willing to do that one. That's not even in the new 4th down, even in the new 4th down area when everyone's looking at Antonio Pierce in that Chargers game and saying, "What are you doing 4th and short on their 43-yard line? You do not punt there. You just punted away the game." That's not how we're playing football anymore. D'Amico Ryan is pressing the gas on, "No, my skill players are better than your guys."
I was really impressed with the game last night. I think both those teams have a chance to be good. I know Safford made a really bad throw that made me think that he just lost the defender in the cover 2 because of the uniform that he was wearing and how well he blended into the background and end zone.
But both teams good, yes.
Both teams are good. It's really cool to see Detroit actually mattering and the way that they won that game, physically imposing
all running plays in overtime,
emulating the style that their coach is trying to preach. They had no answer. It's just, we're going to knock you back 5 yards at a time. You're not going to tackle Montgomery. It was really impressive. I'm looking forward to tonight to see what we got in the Jets, but also it's everyone just assumes San Francisco's going to be here. They had a tumultuous offseason, but those guys are back. Williams is healthy. I'm looking to the NFC now to actually push the AFC champion, although I do think Cincinnati will figure it out, and then come November, they'll be everybody's darling again.
Just back to the Dolphins for a second, because we tend to focus on Tua and on Tyreek Hill and on Jalen Waddle. That defense, they shut the Jaguars out in the second half of that game. And the play by Javon Holland on Travis Etienne.
Great.
That not giving up on the play, forcing the fumble, they recover it, and then the Dolphins come all the way back. Their defense, because a lot of people talked about it, you want to sign Tua, you lose Christian Wilkins. That defense was fantastic yesterday.
Jacksonville fell apart at the end. And if this had been not another Florida team, I would have said they got tired in the heat because it's totally unreasonable. I would have said that D-line for the Dolphins just ravaged an offensive line that is gassed at the end of the game. But it ain't any hotter here than it is in Jacksonville.
Oh, no.
Because at the end of the game, Jacksonville didn't have anything left. So let's go out to Tony.
Let's go out to this heat.
Yes, Tony is sweating right now. He is that Wynwood? That is yes, outside of
I like him.
That is a mural. You do like it when Tony is all sweaty. We're going to do Tony's top 5 here to get as much football analysis as we can here. Tony, tonight you're going to be doing that all season, correct? On Sunday night, Tony Night Live is what you're going to be doing after football games this season.
There's a lot of Dan. There's a lot of things that bear my name on it. This one is Sunday Night Live, which will be going live after the 4:00 games. To recap all of the day's events in the NFL. But I've been told I can't actually step on the sidewalk because of some issues with permits and whatnot. So I'm going to be doing it from the street. I got my security guard right here. He's waiting for me. You want to pan over? Say what's up to my boy real quick.
All right, but this is all fresh. Okay, this is all fresh stuff, though, right, Tony? This doesn't come from Tony Sunday Night, Tony Live, right? This is just all fresh stuff. Okay, let's see. Do we have OLI or just top 5?
We have. Oh, of course we've got OLI. Dan's week 1 of the NFL season. What am I going to come in with only top 5s? You're crazy. We got 4 OLIs to start. As usual, the Tony's Top 5 is presented by the haters. We love them. We appreciate them for making this happen every single week. OLI number 1, Dak quietly got the biggest bag in NFL history, and it wasn't even the biggest story of the day.
Was it quietly he got the biggest bag?
It's quiet, yeah.
Yeah, it's quiet when it has to happen in the middle before you go out to a reporter in Miami Gardens. It happened very quietly because of Schefter's day.
Did you guys see that, Danny? Pan up really quick. Did you guys see that just pass by?
What happened? What's up there?
Oh, wow. Did you see what just flew by? It was Jamar Chase's leverage in contract negotiations with the Bengals this season. It just flew by. I can't believe it.
Okay, so you think
you're playing a game that you lose 16-10.
Okay. Yes.
Ugh. Not good. Not good. Just flew by. You got to sit that one out if
His
you're Jamar
leverage.
Chase.
He can still
Especially
sit out
you
if he
lose.
wants, though. You know, he can still do that.
Nah,
Yeah.
the damage is done, Stugotz.
Okay.
All right. OLI number 3. The masterpiece is done. It's a Bishop to Rook 9. It's the Queen's Gambit. It's over. Kendrick Lamar headlines Super Bowl halftime show, ending Drake once and for all, guys. I'm sorry to report. It's over. It's officially over.
That has to be true, right? Because he's gonna is he gonna do Not Like Us during the halftime to bury Drake?
Of course.
Yeah. But he's not
Of
actually
course,
done.
Dan.
No one stopped streaming Drake. He's still putting up major numbers. It's
But
just
the fight is over.
it's long since been over, but not that it matters. Like, people that were Drake fans didn't cease being Drake fans. They just ceased
I tell you
being
this,
loud about it.
Drake definitely threw the phone down when he saw the tweet and the Instagram
Oh,
post. He
come
definitely
on!
I mean,
threw it
right?
and was like,
Come on!
That has to suck. First, I mean, come on. First week of the NFL season,
but
it's like, come on.
It happened on a good day, though. Like the Dak news. It was kind of just buried by the
That
best
hurts.
player in the NFL
was
voted by
undercover.
the peers getting arrested.
What are the odds he brings Drake out during the performance?
Not high right now. If you
0.
I mean 0. Squashing of the beef. I mean,
Last OLI, boys. Sam Darnold?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, no, he's right about that.
Because he
Sam
started
Darnold.
12 for 12?
Sam
Come on.
Yeah.
He put it in the form of a question, which I think is fair.
Yeah, I said he's right.
It's
There's
just,
2 question marks at the end of that, by the way.
wait a minute. 2 question marks? So Justin Jefferson
Yeah.
is going to make Sam Darnold a good quarterback now? That's what's going to
I think
happen?
It's gonna be enough for me to go Sam Darnold.
Yeah. It could be the Giants that made him a good quarterback, too.
I mean, the Giants.
We'll
can,
see,
Can you guys
Mike.
look up for me what the Giants are since starting 6-1 and Brian Daboll went on God Bless Football as the Daniel
I
Jones
looked it up.
fixer?
What a time.
I looked it up.
They're ass, Dan.
Yeah, they are in deep.
Okay, so it's 1 and deep
Yep.
since being 6-1. All right, go ahead, Tony. Number 5.
All right, number 5, Giants, Panthers, Raiders. My God, Pot's going to be a long season.
Yeah, all of those are going to be. So can we? Were there more bad teams revealed yesterday than good ones? Like bad teams, you can
Yes.
end their season. That's not going to happen. That's not going to go anywhere. No chance of winning anything.
Giants, Panthers, and Raiders, it's over. Like, let's talk next season. That might be 1, 2, 3 for the draft next season. I might have just revealed it.
In the first half, I was willing to say, Chargers, your season's over.
Yeah.
I was
pulled it together. Yeah.
Without Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, I'm like, wait a minute, is that what that's going to look like all year?
Constipated.
1-0.
All right, number 4. Yeah, he's only played 18 games since high school. But did you see Anthony Richardson throw a 70-yard bomb off his back foot in a muddy
reaction.
pocket,
The
Dan?
greatest. Yeah,
This
he's
is
the best.
a muddy
Special.
pocket.
It was on turf.
Muddied pocket, that's right. That's when that first defensive tackle and you got to move up a little bit, you got to move back.
70 yards
the
off
end's
his back
pushing the
foot.
left tackle against you. Special.
Okay, you guys are doing special.
Missed a wheel route, wide open in the end zone.
You guys,
Also
Don't
special.
worry about that, Mike. Don't worry about that, Mike.
we're really
Focus
going
on-
to do this
focus on
with
what we're
one
talking
throw.
about.
You know what?
Dan, you love guys
It wasn't
pushing it down
one.
the field. It's C.J. Stroud going deep. It's Richardson going deeper.
What I love is Mrs. Wide Open guys, but however, and this part's important, did I just see someone who's got a bigger arm than Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes? Like, that's what happened there. One throw off the back foot, 70 yards. I don't care if he's good or not. Did I just see a bigger arm than Josh Allen and Mahomes?
Bingo, Dan. Now you are certified in quarterback love right there. That's what we like to do around here. Number 3. Wow, this one's heavy. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. You've noticed that quote from Oppenheimer that he took from the Bhagavad Gita.
Of course.
Arthur Blank has put together 2 chemicals that are never supposed to be together, and he thought that it was going to work. Kirk Cousins, Atlanta Falcons. This can only end one way, Dan. Terribly. Terribly.
That was a terrible start. A whole lot of people are telling me the Falcons are going to run away with that division just because Kirk Cousins is there, and that didn't look like that yesterday. Number 2.
Bro, do you not know what Tyreek Hill and Calais Campbell look like? All you guys? None of you could be like, damn, I think this is Tyreek Hill. Oh, the guy who's 6'8", 325 pounds. That might be a football player. Huh. Interesting.
Number 1, you got something
Number
better
1.
than that? You got something. Those were your Jags, your alleged Jags. You've been on the Jags for 3 years, Tony.
Tough second half there. We'll bounce back. Duval County, stand up. Number 1, Dan. He can still be a decent QB going forward, but the dream is dead. I didn't have to squint to see him on his knees doing a surrender cobra while former Kane Tyreek Stevenson is running the other way for a 43-yard pick six to seal the game. I'm embarrassed. I don't know if we can put that up there, the surrender cobra that Will Levis did on his knees.
Levis. It's a terrible
while Tyreek
play.
Stevenson.
It's so bad. You need that quarterback to win you the game there against the Bears. The Bears have no business winning that game, and the only way they win the game, pick six, underhand. Will Levis defeated. Mayo commercials, not quite as sensual and sexy when that's how the game is ending, because that was terrible. All right, thank you, Tony.
I didn't need to squint to see that one, Dan.
How sweaty are you right now? It's very humid out there. It's swampy out there. Yeah, there it is.
As you can see, hay más calor de coño su madre.
Eso sí, I was all weekend. I felt like somebody was pouring olive oil on me because it is so swampy all over Miami. Thank you, Tone. We appreciate it. He had to get in. Everyone's got football opinions today. Lucy had football opinions today. What about the other football? What about Alex Morgan? Are we going to celebrate her, or does football win everything and there's no talking about anything else other than football after week 1?
One of the game's all-time greats, one of the greatest soccer products this nation has ever put out. And yes, we should honor Alex Morgan, who retired, had a retirement match, and it was covered by the worldwide leader in epic fashion by outsourcing it to AI, in which the article did not mention her at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and they're doing this a lot, and they're celebrating themselves. They're putting out really poorly worded tweets celebrating the fact that, hey, all the coverage that we could staff as a worldwide leader against with a person that could actually give you your lacrosse news, it's now AI. And when it comes to one of the greatest soccer players this nation's ever produced, we will write an article outsourced to AI, and it'll ignore the actual reason everybody's there watching that game.
Wait a minute, though. What's happening here?
Everyone's mailing it in, Dano.
Well, but Stugotz, a lot of people are being paid $18 and $20 million a year to cut corners on that one. We're already there. We're already at can't cover things correctly or respectfully in print because we're paying a bunch of people $18 and $20 million to just give hot takes on television. Like that seems
seems to be more important in this day and age.
Okay, but
though.
that seems kind of fast to get there. That seems a little disrespectful in 2024 to celebrations that are. Look, Stugotz, it seems fairly obvious. Okay, that in retrospect, we can all look at what's happening in the WNBA and say, man, we made that all a little more difficult on women than we had to in terms of what they had to climb over to get to equality. And a lot of us in male-dominated power structures, and I say us meaningfully there, all sorts of blind spots, made it a little harder on women than we needed to. Alex Morgan probably deserves slightly more respect than that on a football Sunday, that we're going to just bury everything that's happening over there and not even giving it the courtesy of a human being writing the story because journalism has been thrown so far out the door and artificial intelligence has made it so that all of the hedge funds can figure out how to make money on efficiencies here. Having a human reporter write about something meaningful, we can't be already there in 2024.
We've been there. We've been there with the fringe sports. I know it's a disrespect to Alex Morgan. It's a very high disrespect to Alex Morgan. All in all, I thought it was a good weekend for ESPN, but this is something that's been brewing out in the peripheries of the main big three sports here in this country. ESPN has made it known that they're going to be doing this, and with Alex Morgan, you have a poorly written AI article that doesn't even mention Alex Morgan. By the way, the keeper on the penalty kick, you got to let that one go in.
But Alex is being showered with praise from the people that she cares about, like her peers, the people who played, people who love soccer. I do wonder, I'm not saying you guys are wrong because you're not. She deserves to have a journalist come and write the story of Alex Morgan. She is certainly deserving of that. But do you think she cares? Like, do you think she's sitting there going, hey, they didn't cover the ending correctly.
I don't look. I have failed in instead of talking about her and her career, I'm talking about an easy side angle, something that is about AI and journalism and is about the coverage of the coverage and the coverage lacking certain weight. I am telling you that I have been behind here. I often do this as well with women's sports because I have not done a good job of covering this and evolving with the times. And it's super easy to be on a high horse sanctimoniously pointing over here and saying, why don't you do this better when I myself haven't done it well? It feels a bit like Katie Nolan and us criticizing Tom Brady's broadcast. And while I just sliced an S off of D'Amico Ryans' name while criticizing Tom Brady, the critic always gets to win here with a certain lack of self-awareness. But that team and that woman are real life pioneers on being at the total forefront of where it is that they've been screaming, hey, female excellence over here. Over here, it's worth a lot. How about equal pay? How about, televising our sports with the same respect that you televise other excellence? How about we don't make Brittany Griner not have to be able to get a salary here so she has to go get one in Russia and end up in jail? I just don't think very often in modern times we're thinking about who are the real pioneers in sports because we've lived in their era watching them fight for every morsel while men's soccer lags woefully behind the excellence that these women were putting together for how many years? 15 years?
This story is at the cross-section of two big stories. I'd like to isolate the fact that Alex Morgan has done more than enough. What else would you like Alex Morgan to do to get some notoriety on a football Monday to celebrate what was an illustrious career with a lot of trophies and a lot of success and a lot of fandom? So thank you, Alex Morgan. But ESPN, we all saw this coming with artificial intelligence, and you've just caught up in your intentions, which is to save money, and you want to celebrate the fact that, hey, now we can actually give these sports coverage, whereas before we wouldn't even write an article about lacrosse or women's soccer. Now we have this garbage article that's churned out by artificial intelligence. You end up insulting people even more if you're going to outsource a legend stepping away from the game. If you're going to outsource that to AI and it's going to be the laziest AI ever that can't even frame the narrative correctly, that's a real bad job, and hopefully you do something to correct it, like maybe staff a human being.
I agree with all of that, but if you're a legend, you need to retire right in the middle of baseball season for max coverage.
I have what I think is a roller coaster of a story to share with you guys because I was at a casino a couple weeks ago, and I, in the span of 10 seconds, almost killed and then saved the life of an old person.
Wow.
An old person.
So this person would have died if you didn't save their life.
But also would have died if you had killed them.
I tried to have an interaction with this person. Let me just tell the story.
How old is this person?
I didn't ask.
Is it a brittle person?
It was someone in their, I'd say, at least late 60s, maybe early 70s.
So your dad's
around
age.
my dad's age,
But
looking older actually.
But your dad's not brittle. Your dad's thick. Your dad.
He is,
right.
yeah.
No, you know what? I might be wrong. This person looked older than my dad. So let's say they were in their mid-70s.
The casino, though, is filled with a certain kind of frail person who's been going to casinos, smoking cigarettes, playing the slots for 20 years. You have to be very careful about who you knock over. How did you almost kill an old person?
So, you know, these chairs that are in front of slot machines are like heavy chairs. They're not just like chairs you can easily move, but they are movable. It's like a weird thing where they're really heavy, but you can move them.
Right.
So I'm walking just through the casino, and this old guy kind of like almost backs into me because he's taking this chair inexplicably. He's taking this like heavy chair, and it's seeming like I'm gonna move this. And this like old man is like, And
is he getting it off the ground or is he dragging it?
He's getting it just off the ground, like a couple steps. So he's trying to. It looks like he's trying to move this from one slot machine. Maybe it's his lucky chair.
Okay, and you're seeing this and you're thinking, hey, he shouldn't be doing that. I should help him out.
And no. I go for the one-line joke. As I'm walking by, I go, hey, didn't know you were allowed to take those home, implying that he's leaving with the chair.
He's trying to steal a heavy chair.
Right, it was just a joke because he would never steal that. So I just, but I startled the shit out of him. So now this old man carrying a heavy chair, like, gets startled by my terrible joke. And it literally, and then he starts to like fall back, and it's like this slow motion now. It's kind of like in Vegas when Tony had to catch Wayne Newton from falling. It was kind of like this, where Wayne Newton started to fall, and I like pointed at him, and Tony like saved Wayne Newton's life. That's something that will be told if there was ever like a book written on this show. Wayne Newton almost died on that stage.
He did. So the guy was falling back with a chair, and then what'd you do?
Well, and then I caught him.
Oh, you really?
Well, you jostled, for the record.
What?
Yeah, because he was indeed stealing a heavy chair, and you had caught him in mid-action, and he got so startled that you almost, with your accusation, made him fall over, and would have if you hadn't been there to save him from falling over.
And because the weight of the chair was so heavy, his fall back was very slow. So I had time to like, oh shit, I almost just killed that guy, take a couple steps to my left, and I literally caught him. So I almost killed this old man.
I was going to say the quickness, man. Because you're in front of him when you're making the joke. You're behind him when you have to save him.
And as I'm walking away with my wife, I'm just like, that joke was unnecessary by me. All of it unnecessary. Like, like as if the guy was going to be like, I am stealing this thing. Because it'd be a ridiculous thing to steal.
It's like a 2G&T joke.
It was just, I felt bad about the whole thing, but we had a nice interaction.
But you shouldn't feel bad. I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't feel bad about that.
He almost killed someone.
Yeah, okay.
With a bad joke.
Okay.
I didn't know you could take those things. Because as if like casinos, they just give them away.
Look, I understand.
This is somehow your dad's fault.
Hold on. Walk me through the joke again.
I was implying that he was stealing the chair when he was really just moving it. I was just like, hey, I didn't know you were allowed to take those things. But and it startled him, and he almost died.
And where was he?
He was like to my left, like moving the chair.
And where were you?
I was like on the hall, like like the little like walkways. There's like the carpets or where the slots are.
Why are you asking these questions, Billy?
I'm just trying to get to the specifics of this.
Well, it sounds like you weren't listening to the original parts of the story.
Well, it sounds like he's doubting the story.
That's kind of how it's landing, bro.
I wasn't.
Okay.
There you go. I'm trying to understand this and see if this joke was...
Oh, no.
Again?
2 minutes for ruining comedy.
I mean, you're asking questions that are like, that make it seem like you just got here and missed the first part of the story.
Undisciplined.
I felt like it was lagging a bit.
There are follow-ups that I already asked, though.
The reason that this isn't a terrible...
I'm sorry, because you've never asked something that's been asked
I said this is the
before.
one time I can't defend you. That's it.
The reason that this is something that you should embrace, Chris Cody, is while it was a bad and unnecessary joke, and you can claim that it's not funny, how many people ever get to say, I made a joke and almost killed a man because he was so startled by my joke, not by how funny it was.
That's a way of finding the positive.
And then saved him.
And then saved him and made yourself your own hero. So basically, you're the person who set fire to the home, and it was already just a barn filled with shit, and then you put out the fire. Now you're celebrating yourself because there's fiery shit all over the place, but nobody died.
And then I'm just walking away saying none of that was necessary.
But he's still an arsonist.
Yes, that is correct. An arsonist around comedy.
I think that's kind of how your dad wants to go out. Reacting to a bad dad joke. That's kind of like Fat Man Scoop. His last words were "make some noise." I think if your dad either had a hand in someone dying or is the one dying as a result of a bad joke, I think you'd say, that's kind of how I want to go out, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of a mountain of fiery shit, how about the Colorado Buffaloes?
Oh, boy.
This is going real poorly in year 2, real poorly. And I want to focus on the quarterback that has huge NFL prospects. Shedeur Sanders is supremely talented. He made a bad interception. I was listening to Greg McElroy's podcast, and he says, yeah, it's a bad offensive line, but Shedeur is holding the ball a little too long, which is something that could be said for him last season. By the way, Colt McCoy is very happy with all the Tom Brady reaction because Colt McCoy,
he's good.
He got hammered on social media, destroyed on social media for being the opposite of that, Stugotz.
Why'd you go good there, Stugotz?
I enjoyed Colt McCoy. I thought he was decent.
He is
That's
getting
all. Wasn't expecting much.
Universally panned for his performance on NBC. But I think Shedeur tries to really have some highlight reel tape on the field. But I think he needs to pay attention to what other franchises are paying attention to, because you're auditioning on the field for your next job, but also in the press and how you handle adversity, you're also auditioning, and he failed this test with this clip.
I mean, how many times did Raul get touched? How many times did Raul get touched? There was able, like, of course, whenever you're able to run the ball consistently and whenever you're able to, then that opens up the pass, But it's just like you got to understand, like, what your team good at. So it's like, why would we keep running the ball if, okay, we out there and we get in a situation where it's a must get and we don't get it?
Are those kind of like 4th and 1 conversions that haven't gone your guys' way in the last couple of
So how many times did Raiola get touched? Raiola, the 5-star true freshman starting quarterback for Nebraska, that seems to be headed in the right direction.
Who looks just like Patrick Mahomes.
Acts like him.
So Shedeur also left the field with 2 minutes left. Deion Sanders' father and head coach said he was leaving to get treatment, but just bad looks all around. And we're only in week 2. They have a rivalry game against Colorado State that pushed them to the brink last year. Shedeur needs to get blocked by these guys. And once again, this is not the first time that he's taken the opportunity to criticize his offensive line with the media around. And that's stuff that the NFL looks at too.
How about he criticizes his dad? It's his job to get the offensive line, is it not?
What did you say?
Criticize his dad.
It sounded like,
listen, Dad. That is me at the end of the day slurring my words. I think God bless football. I'm cranking up the excuse machine. But seriously, why is he criticizing the offensive line and not his father?
I can't believe.
Is it not his father's job?
I can't believe the son of Deion Sanders would be self-involved.
My life as I know it is about to drastically change forever. And the reason I say that, as many of you know, I'm going to be a father coming up in December to a baby girl, and it's crazy, and I can't believe it. And a lot of my life is going to change, but there's one thing in my life that's going to be constant. And since 1975, this original light beer has been a constant, a mainstay for the entire planet. And it's going to continue to be a mainstay for me. It's Miller Lite. They keep it simple, undebatable quality, great taste, only 96 calories. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. It's a light beer that actually tastes like beer. You don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling, and it tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. I will when my daughter's born with a tall, cold glass of Miller Lite. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.